Note why that went so well early on, even though that was not the characteristic gigantic Big Bang play. You know who died in there? Shake. And Shake is a big part of what keeps Complexity together, keeps them healed up. If you can take out an Ana player of that caliber, suddenly everyone else on your offense is going to find it much easier to come in and get the pickoffs you're looking for and potentially secure the point. And they were very close.
To continue our analogy of earlier about Shake being the backbone, I'm no doctor, and I never took an anatomy class, but I feel that if you could destroy something's backbone, they're going to have a hard time holding up.
That would mostly be true. I mean, again, I'm no doctor. I mean, I don't even have good doctor recommendations. I kind of see this guy called Dr. Nick, says he's legit, but...
Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm not even going to try.
No, don't
that
even
was
try.
terrible.
It is actually horrible. Like, at least you caught it in the moment. But we're going to be swapping sides here on Hanamura, and we'll see just what the Complexity offense has in store. But Hex, this almost feels like I'm not going to say a no-lose situation because they could get held at first, but you have to feel good about your odds where if you take first, the worst that can happen is a draw.
A lot of assault maps we see go to 2, and then we see 3-3 draws, things like that. So definitely a last point hold, not necessarily unexpected because last is easier to hold on most assault maps as the defense. So, but still have to be happy knowing that if you only get first point, the worst case scenario then is you're going to draw. To bring up our phrase, you get first point, you're playing with house money.
Exactly. And now take a look at the Complexity offense here. Now they aren't settled into it here just yet, Hex. But it doesn't appear like we will be seeing a Sombra in this case. Moreover, you look at the Immortals defense, they're running Symmetra, so how important is it for Complexity for this first early dive to be successful?
Well, I'm not sure that it's going to be a first early dive. Nicholas is on that Widowmaker. He is their Widow specialist on this team, too, so an early pick could be great. I love including Widow into this dive comp, actually, so that the early dive makes distractions, and then Widow can just pick up anyone who's not paying attention.
It's hard to focus on the Widowmaker when you have a Tracer in your face, but Tracer immediately going down. I think he got hit by a long-range Helix rocket with a little bit fall-through, and the 2 quick kills. Early dive is not happening here from Complexity. They're going to have to back out and regroup.
That's pretty tough. Verbo's actually got some pretty sneaky sentries in Big Pack Room, too, which is one of the nicer places to put them as people will retreat to go get that pack and then get burned down by those sentries. So a lot of this will rely on Verbo, too, as well, to see if he can get his charge up in time. But the dive is in effect on the left side a little bit. They've got a couple sneaky people in the back line.
And right now, they're creating a distraction, which should let the rest of Complexity get in here. But it's on a razor's edge, Hex. They need to get that all-important first pickoff. And Zhao going to go down immediately. Torque following him. A 6v4 situation here. And Complexity probably going to have to back it up. And the only good thing from them here, Hex, is that Verbo, at least, is still not close to having that teleporter up yet.
Yeah, only about 56% after 2 fights. So you know, extrapolating that, you might have one more push where he won't have it up. But after that, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to be on tele-hunting duty. Of course, they do have the people to hunt it, but also Nicholas been very quiet. You know, everyone's been very quiet. Almost no kills for this Complexity on this offense. I feel like it might be a lack of coordination that they're going in just a split second too late, and with the new roster, that's not surprising.
Their offense has definitely looked a little bit discombobulated, but here's Nicholas looking to make his own way, not able to land the headshot to open that up. Still 6 players up for Immortals is hyped, and Nomi going in, 3 unanswered kills here from the side of Immortals, and guess what, Hex? It goes from bad to worse because Verbo will have his ultimate up for the next fight, and we'll see if he drops now or just waits, but either way, it's not a good situation for Complexity.
The smallest of silver linings is that Immortals did burn a couple ultimates there. Not a great deal, though, as they're going to have a couple more tank ultimates up. They also lost Chow again late. It has been nothing very good for Complexity on their offense. At this point, with time winding down a little bit, do you just initiate with a Transcendence? Wall hacks are up. Maybe they can get a pick.
You have to go for something here. There's a minute 45 left. Maybe you don't throw everything against the wall, but Zhao is already gone. He has been gambling hard on Tracer and getting shut down every time with his deep dives. Immortals defense basically airtight.
He's been trying to dive Aethan every time, and he's lost every single time. He's gotten out-dueled by Ana, which is no shame in a Tracer. Ana's impossible to kill, but he has tried several times to get on that Ana, and Aethan has been taking a self-defense course, apparently. He's shut it down completely.
Well, not every Tracer can be Sinatra soon, but for Complexity now, a minute 15 left. They have to be careful about how they handle this, but with an early pickup from Nomi, Dragon Blade is up. He does it with no HP, finds Grim Reality, high risk, high reward, finds Aethan, and that is Torque potentially giving Complexity a big opportunity here. The rest of them going to go on the point. Immortals can still fight this back. Graviton up for Hyped, looking for his opportunity. Still with Nomi. People coming back in off the teleporter, and the reinforcement techs will come in off that teleporter and secure the situation.
Those were really cool 3 kills off the Dragon Blade. I would have traded 2 of those kills to find the teleporter and kill it because they mean absolutely nothing with the reinforcements that came through. Verber had already dropped it. Defense in a great position with nearly every ultimate up. The economy has looked absolutely phenomenal for Immortals in this game. They've only used exactly what they had to. Teleporter still has some charges as well. You've got ults all across the board.
Well, fans of Complexity, this is their final fight. Sound barrier is up, but they're going to be rolling right in the Grim Reality. He has them in their sights. Hyped and Agility's on the front line already. 2 members of Complexity down. Is 3-0 for Immortals in this fight. And now with 10 seconds left, this is all over but the crying Hex.
It does appear so, and there have been a lot of tears as these Ana grenades have shut down every diver time and again. The teleporter came through, and that is a full hold, it appears, for Immortals. They will take Hanamura.
And what a disappointment here for Complexity, where they did have that gutsy hold on point B. It was great. It gave them a phenomenal opportunity to come in here and at least come out with a draw on Hanamura. And instead, they're walking away with an L because of an even better hold from the side of Immortals.
It speaks to the point we made last map, though, that their defense will probably be fine. Defense is reactive, and people can come in and you can make calls like that. Their offense is what is going to struggle as they don't have the coordination to make these compositions work.
Now, let me ask you this here. I do like seeing Widowmaker. I think Widowmaker could be highly explosive and really bring things to bear. Would you have stayed on the Widow as long as Complexity did, or would you have looked for a bigger switch?
It looked like it was about to work a couple times, so I get it. They almost got Ethan a couple times, and Ethan was just the unkillable man there. They tried everything to take that Ana down in the back line as they couldn't. I don't know, it's difficult for me to say that every time it would have made sense for her to switch, she had infrared sight up, and you don't really want to give that up because it can help with your offensive coordination as well to know where people are, especially in a dive comp. When you have infrared sight up, you say, they're in the back corner, let's send someone there, and I just think that the window to switch was never there.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about windows, though, and no matter what, if it's not working, it's not working. There were definitely opportunities for it. That was the question I had. Literally, was the first question is this Widow, and honestly, these comps that they're putting together, it just seems to me like they're really reaching for something. They're trying to find cheap entry into getting a positive team fight, get a couple of picks, and get in there. But the thing I want to talk about is the new guys. And let's talk about Chow a little bit, because it seemed like he was getting picked off a lot there.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Zhao, because that was going to be my next point as sort of a defensive Widow, is that part of the reason why you run a Widowmaker there is that you have a Tracer that can get into the back line, draw attention. Now everyone's not looking at you as a Widowmaker, and you can get more opportunities for pickoffs. Well, unfortunately, Zhao was going in very deep and dying very quickly. He wasn't able to really be the distraction that may have let Nicholas get some better pickoffs, get better opportunities. So Zhao really was not feeling comfortable on Tracer, that was clear, and was not very effective in the end on Hanamura offense.
One of the misconceptions, I think, of dive comp, and when you see the composition people have out, is that you've got these great duelers. You've got Genji and you've got Tracer, and you're just like, just let them run wild. But I think there was a little too much freelancing going on there. A little, I'm going to try to get in here, and I'm going to see what happens. Even with the big Dragon Blade, it was some nice kills, but where's everyone else to deal with it? You need to, it has to be 3 heroes playing as one. This is our target. Let us dive in. It's something I've, dubbed like the Velociraptor strategy. The person you're looking at in front, then here comes a Genji, here comes a Tracer, and that's how you run the dive comp successfully.
The clever girl.
Yeah. We're all looking for it at the same time. But I would go here a step further and say, do you have chaos or do you have organized chaos? Are you in control of it where you really do know what you're doing, everyone knows who's on who, and you can dive in and take advantage of a defense in disarray? Or is it just chaos where everyone is, to use your term, freelancing and just looking for a kill? And definitely for that Complexity offense, it definitely felt more like just straight up guarded variety chaos and not the type that takes point A.
It seems like maybe that's what they brought. They're not feeling confident in any set plays because of how their roster has been changing as we're walking into the studio, as you had mentioned, as far as what we know. But so maybe that's what they're looking for, is they're like, listen, we've got to bank on our individual players picking things up for the team, and it just didn't work out there. They did have a very good defense. Let's talk a little bit about Oasis, because there's plenty more topics as far as that goes. But Oasis, this is the first time that we've really seen it in recent history. here in NA.
I think it's a super smart pick, to be honest, because I think control overall will help complexity because you have new players and it is a little more, you can let people just run a little wild, do a little more. It's a little less coordinated on situations, but also I think people have not probably played Oasis a lot. So any sort of knowledge gained by team composition, like this is what we run in Oasis, will be completely mitigated and complexity should have a stand chance. And, you know, trampolines, I'm for it.
Right, and the most play we've seen of Oasis thus far has come out of Apex, where that has been a standard map in the map rotation. We just haven't had the tournaments in NA to really see what NA teams have done on this map here thus far. And truth be told, I mean, I'm sure teams have been doing some degree of scrimming on Oasis, but their overall knowledge on the map is certainly going to be less than, say, it would be on a map like Lijiang, like Nepal. Maps have been played since the beginning. So I'm definitely curious to see what we see out both these teams here, because there are more nuances to Oasis than some of the other maps. I mean, trampolines, as Hex mentioned a moment ago.
Trampolines and bastions, maybe. Are we going to see the trampoline bastion today?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not today.
Not yet. No.
Not today.
Wait for
We'll
PTR.
see. Maybe
to be live.
there might be a patch coming up here soon, so only time will tell whether or not we can expect to see that anytime soon. Well, it looks like we are ready to go into the game. So without further ado, game number 3 on Oasis. Have fun.
All right, so we're going to be moving into Oasis here. Complexity versus Immortals. Immortals looking to finish this off with a firm 3-0 result. Complexity looking for that reverse sweep. Now, Hex, as we look in here on this first stage in Oasis, is there anything particular that you could expect differently from your average control point map, or do you think that both teams will keep this relatively standard?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on the stages that we roll into, of course. I think one of the great things about Oasis is that there's a lot of verticality. Of course, when you design a map around, I believe they're technically called jump pads. I don't want to start making everyone call them trampolines right away. That you're going to have a design verticality, which means that Pharah is going to be very good. In fact, the lower levels I feel can be underutilized. One of the great things I've seen recently from some tracers is a trick where you retreat down to get away from people into the lower ground, rewind back up. So it's another escape path that people aren't necessarily looking forward to. But I do think that we will see a great deal of Pharahs on Oasis.
Well, as you mentioned, Pharah, we are now looking directly at agilities on Immortals, and he is showing Pharah right now, so that very well could be the case as we move in. Of course, so is Complexity, so we haven't seen this a lot in tournaments like Apex as well, where teams have been very willing to experiment, definitely moving more Pharah into the mix, and really just different team comps in general, because I'm going to note, where is the Reinhardt right now from either team? It's not there.
But just to underscore the point, why this is such a good Pharah map, and you can tell because neither of these teams necessarily known for running Pharah, and both are going to run their combo right off the bat.
All right, so both teams getting into it early on here. Pharah v. Pharah action. This brings me back, and Agilities gets brought right down. That is going to be Nicholas with the first blood in the Pharah battle, but the rest of his team not faring as well as Grim Reality darting around, doing the damage into that backline. So Nicholas, he's won the Sky War, but he's lost the Land War.
In these kind of compositions, too, I think D.Va can shine again, and you see hyped back on D.Va. D.Va's a great way to shut down a Pharah and a combo, completely mitigating all those rockets, all the damage, and just denying anything that she wants to do. And we're even seeing the jump pad into it. I'm digging it.
Do you like to jump pad? Grim Reality actually just having a little bit of fun right now. Just up and down. I mean, it does look like it's a pretty entertaining exercise. But look at that. He's found his way right into Lucio. Lucio, not expecting this flank path, is doing a good job of at least keeping Grim back right now as Joe Meister looking for his life. But while this is going on, Torque is getting onto the Immortals backline. So Grim has been a bit on a wild goose chase. But there's the stick. Long range. Connects in the KO. But the rest of his team definitely not faring as well.
I mean, I'll give him style points, but really very little impact from him right there, unable to take down the Lucio. It's a pretty known jump to use the trampoline and get back there with a triple blink to get to the back lines, unable to finish that Lucio. Didn't even throw the pulse bomb to Lucio, which I thought would have been a little better. A nice shot, though, a Kobe, if you will, but very little impact from the Tracer play there.
All Complexity going to be looking to hold onto their advantage right now. We have Nicholas on the flank, looking to drop Justice on as many people as possible. Not quite finding the targets he likes here just yet, but is relatively firmly there, is getting power boosted by Shake as this goes on. And Torque, able to get to the backline, pulse bombed out Ana very early into this fight. This means that Complexity will be able to out-sustain as they look to mop up the remaining members of Immortals as Verbo just takes 2 to the face.
Well, there's no doubt about it that Nicholas is having the better Pharah game for sure. He's gotten the better of agilities every single time. This damage boost is absolutely brutal as he adds another notch onto his belt and takes down the Tracer on the other team. So he's been something to behold, and they need to find an answer for it. And you know what? Grim Reality plays a hero that I think is a pretty good answer to Pharah.
Space Cowboys are pretty good at taking down air rocket queens, or so the story goes. So, and as we say that, there it is. Grim Reality has had enough with his time wizardry now on that Space Cowboy. And we'll see if Nicholas is still flying the friendly skies as it goes forward. But a lot of good ultimates on the side of Complexity going into this next fight here, Hex.
Yeah, Grim Reality on the Tracer just not doing enough, and I think that the McCree is a great pick here, but is it coming a little bit too late? They're going to put a little bit of pressure on the point, but camera on Nicholas still, as he's just been a terror they have to deal with. Agilities does finally get a barrage kill onto Joe Meister, gives his life for it, though, as Nicholas remains to be the most viable threat in the sky.
And Nicholas hasn't really been deep diving. He's been minding his time, but oh my goodness, the Diva self-destruct, that is going to open this up for Immortals, give them the oomph they need, and they will retake, but a very good situation to be in, Hex, if you're Complexity. They only need to win one team fight to secure this round.
Need to win one more fight. They've got their barrage up. They've got Resurrection up too. It's important to note that I think in situations like this, we've seen in North America and other matches that if you lose your Pharah, you're going to see almost an instant res right away. That's the kind of what the composition is built around. If Nicholas does go down, expect Shake to res him immediately.
Well, let's take a look at Grim Reality right now on his favorite boost pad, going in on Nicholas, and Nicholas definitely not flying the friendly skies there, immediately taken down. And this is what Grim Reality is good at, being very accurate and finding good moments to go in. He is under pressure, and oh, he is off the edge. Goodbye and good night. No anti-gravity for him, but still a very even fight as both teams still very much in it. Tanks going to decide this here as Hyped and Nomi go back in, and Primal Rage is out, and this is going to be a lot of progress here for Immortals, even if they lose the fight here, Hex.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them to take this point back when you have Nomi at 900 HP. Nicholas now back in the fight, takes down Verbo very early, though, and they still have that Resurrection. It might come out here if they need it, but so far, Nicholas still on the ground all alone. They do retake, though, so it's on Immortals to take it back.
And now for Immortals, they just have to get on the point. They do have time to get on the point and stall this out, but any deaths they have will be horrible. Agilities was able to get him Torque early on. That's good. He's going to get rezzed immediately, and it's Shake giving his life for that. And oh my goodness, not again! Grim Reality getting well acquainted with the asphalt there. Oh my goodness. Booped right off. And now we'll see if this is enough for Complexity to hold.
It's so close. The point is just a tick away, the smallest of hairs, as they do clean up a couple kills. That is their DPS running wild as Ethan chimes in, takes down Torque as well. They will flip it back over, and now it is looking rather difficult for Complexity if they're even going to be able to get back on. They're going to push pretty far forward to prevent it.
They're going to push forward. We should be seeing a zoning Deadeye here from Immortals in just a moment, just to make it even harder. Nano Boost is out from Ethan. And here we go. We do have Winston on the point. That will at least give Complexity a glimmer of hope. A sliver of hope. I wanted to say sliver and then glimmer, and I've just mixed them into one whole word. But the important thing here is that Immortals will hold on to this point. And that was very close back and forth, and arguably Complexity should have had that.
I always get confused when I see a sleeping monkey, too. Not used to seeing it in my everyday life. You see a sleeping monkey, all your vocabulary goes all awry. But that looked like Complexity's game very early on. But I think the turning point, correct me if I'm wrong, Grim going on to McCree.
It certainly was. Nicholas was the MVP for Complexity for most of that round. And then suddenly, Grim Reality, who really wished he could fly with those two knockoff kills, still was a big enough impact to really negate Nicholas's impact here. So we're taking a look at the opening here for Immortals. He's no longer on the McCree. Nicholas still showing Pharah. We'll see how long he stays on this Roadhog here. I think he might just immediately swap to McCree upon realizing Pharah's there if Immortals does get stopped on this first point.
Yeah, Agilities is always going to lose this air battle should they choose to take it, because Nicholas has his pocket healer, and he's going to have Mercy in his pocket the entire time. I don't mind the pick, actually, to Roadhog, because I think rather than focusing the Pharah here, if you can just take the trailing Shake out of the air with a hook, then you're going to be in a great position to win the fight.
So right now, the Roadhog on Immortals is giving them a little bit more space. Complexity does not want to immediately roll right into it, get hooked, lose a person. But both teams are jockeying for position early on here as Grim Reality is going to be coming on the flank looking for that early hook. Meanwhile, Nicholas still in the skies, laying in the rockets, looking for this Pharah v Pharah fight, going in on Agilities. Agilities will be backing back out. That's going to stop right there. But for now, Complexity, well, they were doing well, but Grim Reality, he's going to ground Nicholas right here, right now. And it's very close, but Immortals certainly looking pretty intimidating.
I think one of the reasons they're running this hog is because they've seen how Complexity is running this combo. It's been very aggressive, not necessarily staying back. They've been running in range the entire time, and a hook is a guaranteed kill, whereas it's a little less consistent to run a McCree perhaps against this.
All right, Immortals, they will be the victors of this first skirmish here on the second point. And the Roadhog for now working out. And I think part of it too is that Pharahs are in the air, but they can't get quite the airtime that they did on the previous stage here, Hex.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably part of Grimm's method in his madness here for not immediately going McCree, even though the Pharah is in play.
Absolutely. It also helps out against the Tracer that they were running anyway. They've gone off of that too. So now it is going to be a more standard composition from Complexity. They're off the Mercy now onto the Ana of their own as Grimm busts the whole hog.
He busts the whole hog, has the nano boost on him. He is a one-man wrecking apocalypse, so to speak. And with those 2 kills, Immortals will secure themselves this fight and that much more progress here on the point.
Had to burn a couple there, though. Immortals still, the economy has been really, really impressive over the last couple of maps, only using exactly what they need. They saved Earthshatter, they saved Barrage, and Complexity has nothing in their war chest.
And for Complexity, that's pretty rough here because say they go into this X5 with Immortals and lose because of ult disadvantage, that's really going to leave them one big fight. And oh my goodness, the Earthshatter from the flank from Nomi absolutely sets them up, and the rest of Immortals is there to get the fall through. And Hex, how bad is this for Complexity right now?
Well, they didn't get their ult until they were already dead, but I think that it was really smart by Immortals playing more aggressive than maybe is in their nature to take that fight to him before they could even come back to him. There is going to be a grab, is going to be a barrage, and now we've got a very sneaky hog trying to climb up some stairs.
He's just looking for support right now, and he might have had the opportunity to get one. This is sneaky. He's hunting wabbits right now, Hex, and will he get it? I mean, Elder Fudd wasn't very successful, but from reality will be, or will he? No! He fails to get the Ana, and she sleeps him. Grim reality, not like this, and now with Grimm out of the fight, here comes Complexity diving into Immortals, but Immortals counter-engaging right now with hyped and agilities, and they still might be able to pull this back despite Grimm's faux pas.
I mean, Shake is just on a different level sometimes. Shake lives against everyone. The Ana play in this game is at some of the highest levels, because let's not forget how good Aethan has been as well. They're getting a couple kills on the side of Complexity as they clean up the rest of this point. They do have control, so they're trying to get it back there, but now here comes a boost onto one of our heroes down there. There's a boosted whole hog from Torque. He gets hooked, but he should be able to take out his counterpart.
Well, he does find Grimm early on. The nano boost is over, but he's still at good HP. Diving in right now on Nomi. It is Reinhardt on Roadhog action. And Torque for now will be surviving, but Hyped is there to support Nomi. Nomi's still alive, still using the shield to stay in here. And while that's going on, Nicholas, Justice ring from above, does find Ivan. That will hurt the Immortals' healing pressure as Nicholas is finally getting to work.
Torque somehow stayed alive between those 2 tanks as the rest of his team was able to come in and clean up. We're nearing about 50% on the side of Complexity, and really Complexity needs anything to get going for him. It's been a difficult couple of maps so far, and right now kind of working their way back. They will have a barrage from Nicholas as well. Torque also working his way to ults. For the first time in this set, they've grabbed the ultimate advantage.
And Immortals right now, bear in mind that if they are able to win this fight, they're going to take the round outright, so Complexity must be perfect. We do have the Earthshatter falling down from Nomi. Doesn't get immediate kill off it right away. Zhao out of the fight. Torque able to get on Nomi, but here comes Nicholas. Justice ring from above. Takes down Grimm right away. Has to settle for just one. It is very close right now, Hex, between both teams, but Nicholas, even at 60 HP, still able to stay in the skies and lay down firepower.
I love where Nicholas is actually positioning right now, knowing that he has position of the point, doesn't have to be on the point. He can stay back very safe and just pepper these stairs with rockets, make sure that no one feels comfortable coming in. I believe that Immortals is likely waiting for Hype to get to his Graviton. He's so close, 91%. Verbo's gonna have Soundberry. They might initiate with that before Hype has it, but it is time to fight for Immortals.
Hyped could absolutely just win this for Immortals right here, right now. He just needs 5% more ult, but here comes Complexity. Nano boost is out. Crow going in, looking for a fall through. The Graviton is in here from Complexity, but they don't get much out of it. Immortals still in this fight. Hype can drop a counter Graviton at any moment. He's going to get hooked and taken down. A clutch hook coming out from Torque to immediately stop Hype there, and that could have very well won Complexity at this point.
I love that camera angle. It was the vaudeville hook from off screen. He was hiding in the corner. You didn't even see Roadhog. It was just the hook taking Hyped out of it. A clutch hook if ever there was one. And Complexity, it is a small victory, but that's how you build to big victories. Winning a stage, it's something to build upon.
I just imagine Zarya up there in a top hat, just failing at dancing. There's booze coming out, and Zarya goes, wait, my best act is about to come out. And unfortunately, the cane comes out, throws her off stage before the Graviton, and that was very good timing from Torque to stop Hyped from turning that fight around.
Roadhog is a harsh critic. It was interesting that they stuck on that Farah for as long as they did. I think Nicholas wasn't necessarily getting as much as he wanted out of it, but because it is such a good Farah map, I feel that it's probably his most practiced hero on this map, just guessing. But on the other side of things, it looks like Grim, despite having a rather decent Roadhog game, is going back on his hero of McCree again.
And this is just going to be better at stopping Nicholas, because if you notice, Nicholas was really giving a lot of space because of the Roadhog. Really wanted to make sure there was room between him and potential hooks, but now dealing with McCree, certainly much harder, and Grim very aggressive, very sneaky. But first fight here is underway between both teams, and Nicholas definitely giving a lot of room to this Immortals team. Doesn't want Grim to get in on him, and this is a poking fair, which usually doesn't work out so well, but we'll see how it goes as Agilities is able to start opening things up here for Immortals.
Yeah, Agilities with a couple really nice pick takedown both tanks. One of the problems when you're running this combo, and it always has been, is that you're essentially running a 2v6 and a 4v6, and the other team in full force all of the time, so a little too far away from his team. It's a good map for the combo because you can hold high ground without having to use your boost, which is where we see Grim set up right now, so if they want that high ground back, they're going to have to fight for it.
Now, let me ask you this. Is Nicholas going to stand the Farah while going for long poking? He had to give up so much room because of Grim reality on the McCree. It just feels like he's not being as effective as a result.
They don't have anything else to dislodge Grim really at this point. I don't know how much confidence they have in KO to be able to 1v1 a McCree up top on the Winston, and I believe he'll stick on it at least until we get a single Barrage. Barrage is simply too valuable. It can turn fights around for you, so that you raise a good point, but I think if Grim gets better of him once or twice, he's going to switch.
Well, Complexity, they are going in. Nicholas is diving in, but doesn't get quite what he's looking for immediately. Grim reality able to back out, and this is a clean team fight here from Immortals. Complexity, they dove in decisively, and they died just as decisively.
They need to deal with Grim. I know it becomes simplistic at a certain point, but who is your biggest problem to your composition? It is Grim reality, and unfortunately for Complexity, there's 5 other guys who are also very good on this Immortals team.
Well, Hype certainly can ruin some parties here on this next fight. He's very close to having a Graviton, and Complexity, time is starting to run away from them here. 62% unanswered thus far on progress, and Nicholas down very early to start this fight, ends up rocketing himself. And by the way, Agilities has been a huge threat this entire round here thus far as well. Started out with 2 kills, ends up dying there, but the rest of Immortals able to move in, and Tracer just falls off the cliff. It's a little bit quicker to respawn that way.
Yeah, hoping that she'll wake up from the nightmare that she is in right now, unable to really get much going. Was able to get 1 kill, but the time to kill just very slow there. And now 86% Immortals with a bunch of ults. Last good fight coming for Complexity.
Complexity, this is a must-win fight for them, or they will lose this round. Here comes Nicholas, going with the early barrage, does not connect on Grim. Meanwhile, Hyped drops a Graviton. It's one poor Winston stuck in there, and he's got Primal Rage right out, so nothing good happening from there, but look at Agilities on the flank. Whole Hog taking down D.Va, setting up Grim, and this is still going to be Immortals fight and Immortals round.
Nomi with the clutch play right there to kill Shake because Shake had Resurrection available. Several of his teammates dead, perhaps giving them new life would have brought new life to this point, but they will take another stage. Now Immortals 1 stage away from taking the opening set.
And Immortals, this has been interesting because really these have been close rounds for the most part. That last one, perhaps not as much. And maybe there is something to the idea that running early McCree has really been hurting Complexity. But on the whole, Complexity has been playing this relatively close, so even though it's 2-1, I feel like there's a possibility that, especially going back to first round, it could be 2-1 in Complexity's favor, so it still could go any way here, but Immortals definitely feels like they have a bit of an edge if they keep Grim on that McCree.
I tend to agree with you, and while I think that Farah can be okay against McCree in some circumstances, you play a lot of McCree. What would you not want to be played against you in this situation? AKA, how do they deal with Grim?
Dealing with Grim here, anything that's in your face, especially if you have people coming in from both sides, McCree is very good at dealing with one target, but if you give him multiple threats, including one threat that's really tanky in his face, it's very difficult to deal with. So you have to be coming at him with a dual factor strategy. Just one hero is not going to be enough. 2 heroes, like say Winston and Genji at the same time, that could give him some fits.
We have not yet seen the coordinated jump from KO and Torque together. Again, KO a relatively new addition to this roster, so some of that coordination being an issue. Torque is on the back line all alone, trying to get some work done on the Tracer, but so far bloodless as Nomi does get a kill, but gives his life for it.
5v5 right now between both sides. Torque going to be darting around that Tracer, looking to open things up, and he does. Able to find Agility, still a threat in the back line. Grim Reality in the back of the Immortals himself, but unfortunately his team is dying all around him. He wasn't quite able to land the shots he was looking for, which means he needs to back out, and the first take will go the way of Complexity.
Torque coming alive there with the cleanup on the Tracer. Some nice kills early on for Complexity, and Torque already with that Pulse Bomb up. So far, they've just stayed far enough away. I think this is actually how Nicholas was playing towards the end of this stage earlier on, far enough away from Grim Reality. Grim Reality, though, going to switch from McCree onto a Roadhog, which is what he played on the stage earlier.
This is what he played on the stage earlier, and it didn't quite shut down Nicholas the way he was looking for, but did offer a lot of control on the point. And speaking of Nicholas, he is still very unpressured here as both teams are getting into it. Now, Immortals are coming in from inside the building and inside the main gate, and with Tracer down already, this is a big opportunity as Agilities drops a Justice, takes down Pharah, and as Agilities picks up 3 kills, this should be Immortals' point.
Agilities with his best life on Pharah so far in this set as he absolutely crushes it. What's a great life on Pharah? You pop your ult and you stay alive. I've never seen it happen before in my own experience, but he is able to live through his ultimate and get a couple more kills.
Did you know the full voice line is Justice reigns from above? People just thought it was Justice because you tend to die after you say that one magical word, but you're right, it was a great life there for Agilities. He was able to go in that point where he wasn't being focused on, and there's nothing more dangerous than a Pharah that is donning a cloak of invisibility, so to speak.
Well, they are going to have a barrage up for them as well as an Earth Shatter. The only thing really working in favor of Complexity is the Graviton. They will bust out that Graviton. A nice angle for it from Chow as they get in. A beautiful nade is going to allow them to clean up for this fight all but over, and Complexity with the fight they needed to get back into this.
Complexity will be retaking, and for Immortals, this is a little bit rough here, Hex. They only have really 2 team fights to give here at this point, which means there's a lot of pressure on them to take this next team fight. You don't want to be in a case where you have to win a fight and then just hold uncontested for the rest of the map. So we'll see what happens here. Verbo should be able to initiate this with the sound barrier, and a lot's going to come down to how Agility sets this up. Now, Hyped has the Graviton about to be underway, so we'll see how this goes. Agility's looking for his right moment. There's the Graviton, and there's the Justice, raining right from above. They only get 2 kills from it, though, but that very well could be enough. Nano Boost was also invested on Agilities. He's diving into the back line. Ana's in his sights, and Ana goes right down.
Agility is really coming alive on his Pharah. It's something that we don't see him play a lot of, but he has made his name in the Overwatch scene very early on before he went over to play Roadhog or some other heroes. He was a great Genji, so his projectile aim and prediction is definitely unquestioned. He's showing it right now on his Pharah right now.
Well, we do have a swap up here where Hyped has gotten off the Zarya. He is now on the Winston, and we'll see how long he stays on that. So we had it in the last fight to set things up. Now going to a different character, in part to give a little bit more oomph to Immortals engages and to keep Complexity off guard.
Torque's been a little bit of a nuisance, so I think that might be what is prompting the switch right there. Maybe he's going to stay back with his supports as well, keep them a little healthier. As Sound Barrier comes down, Agility is going to come up over top, try to clean up the rest of this. Grim, though, gets 2.
Grim just diving right in there, and this is a powerful front line coming out from Immortals right now, where they're able to just dive right in. Hyped, of course, is going to add to aggressiveness on the Winston, and now it's 75% Complexity in a do-or-die situation, Hex. They have the ultimates they need to win this next fight, but if they don't convert, their life here in Oasis and in the series will be over.
They'd be best served throwing everything they have at it because there's no reason holding on to it. Chow only 4% away from a grab. They've got Earthshatter. They've got everything. Can they execute? They should win this fight in theory.
Well, here they go. The Graviton going to open things up. The Justice raining from above. Nicholas with the fall through on the Nomi. 2 unanswered kills here. They are cashing in their ultimate power here, Hex, but it is successful. Or is it? Agilities finds 3. How does he stay that unnoticed? And now this is a winnable fight for Immortals. It is in question for Complexity, and that, you just cannot have that happen after an early opening like that. And Grim Reality on Tracer here, now the X Factor. He might be able to have Immortals win this right here, right now. But note that Complexity did retake the point in the chaos.
Show me your ways, Agilities. How do you get 4 off a naked barrage like that? No help, no support, just pops it, gets 3, and then finishes up with another 4. They did take it back, but right now it has been all Immortals as they look to take it back. Overtime, Immortals in control of this point, looking to mop up and take the set.
And Grim Reality able to find Nicholas early on, darting in and around on the Tracer. This is a chaotic fight, and Tracer thrives on the chaos. 2 unanswered kills here from Immortals, and is looking more and more like Immortals will be dispatching Complexity in this opening game. They do just that. The series goes 3-0 in favor of Immortals.
Despite it being 3-0, I'm a little bit impressed with complexity. They fought harder than I thought they were going to, given everything that had happened roster-wise coming into this.
Absolutely. I think that there's different levels of 3-0s.
Yeah.
And if anyone looks at the score page, they're going to go, wow, we probably expected this coming in, which isn't wrong. But we